Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Anne.
And good morning, everybody. This is Monday Morning Coffee with Kyle and Ann. I'm Ann Rossley with my colleague, Kyle Harvey, here today to talk to you about Chicago real estate. And today we're going to talk about co-ops versus condos. We've talked about this before, but we're going to give it another update and give you some more information. Kyle, how are you doing today?
I am well. I'm loving this weather.
It's fabulous, isn't it? I was at Ravinia Saturday night. Could not have been a more beautiful evening. And I hadn't been to Ravinia in a long time. How easy it is to take the train up to Ravinia. It lets you, for those of you who haven't been, it lets you off right there. Now, when I went years and years ago, we had to like pack everything up and do this big, meal thing. Well, they've made it so easy now. You can order a meal online and then just go pick it up. So you don't have to bring all your food if you don't want to. You can buy their wine and everything there too. And then they also have great chairs to rent. I brought my like soccer chairs, the kind I take to Pritzker, but they have these great ones that are good for old people's backs. So next time I go, I might not just bring anything and just show up, but we had a blast. So
but you live at Lollapalooza.
Yeah, that's the funny part, right? So Lollapalooza was going on this weekend, right before my very eyes. And yes, I left to go to something that was more age appropriate for me, Ravinia. It was Yacht Rock, which was music from 79 to 82, which was like right in my zone.
I would have sung the whole time.
I did. I sang, I danced. It was like Kenny Loggins and Toto and Steely Dan and Fleetwood Mac.
Love it.
Awesome.
Oh, anyway. All right.
So yes.
Not for the peeps today.
Pardon?
What do we have for the people today?
You mean what we're talking about?
What are we going to start with? We got some stats.
Should we just start with our beginning like we always do?
Oh, whoops. Yes.
Let's do it. Okay. So yes, we should start with statistics like we always do. Just keep it simple, keep it the same. Okay, so today's August 2nd. So we have information about July. And guess what? Median sales price inched up a little bit. We're now at like 442 median sales price. We've been hovering at the 440 mark for a while. So prices are going up a little bit. Okay, under contract. This is North Chicago Township. Number of properties that have gone under contract. We've gone down a little, but our little is still way bigger than everything else. And
remember, this is normal summer.
Exactly. And the number here is higher than the peak months.
Yeah.
So this is closed sales, 648. Yeah. And here we are in Lakeview Township, 454 under contract. Down a little bit from previous year. I mean, but crazy high. And closed. Look at all these closed. Higher. This is a 5-year chart. So look how much higher we are the last 4 months versus like anything in the last 5 years. Crazy hot. So here's year to date through July. North Chicago Township is orange. $2.5 billion in real estate sales year to date. And of course, last year low, but year before $1.8 billion in sales. So big, big, big. And then in terms of Lakeview, almost 2 billion versus 1.3 in 2019.
Remember, Lakeview is is somewhat lower property value. So that just shows the volume of sales that it's that close to North Chicago.
Right.
It's incredible.
Exactly right. Okay. Single family homes, month supply. We're still it's coming up a little bit, but we're still 3.3 and 2.7 months worth of supply. And again, everybody, that means it'll take 2.7 to 3.3 months to sell through everything that's on the market right now.
So these are houses. These are houses, people, not condos.
Exactly. But wait till you see this next chart.
Here's condos. Good.
Look at that. 5 months. It was, it keeps coming down versus this high up here in COVID. So
yeah,
it's looking better and better and better and better. Okay. Average price per square foot. And I put this in here because I wanted to, we're going to be talking about co-ops and we're going to be talking about price per square foot. So I thought it was interesting to see that the average price per square foot for North Chicago is $339 and Lakeview $285.
And that's why here's why it's interesting also, is North Chicago Township has some uber luxury buildings that are starting to sell, that have sold and are starting to sell. And that's how much it still has dipped for North Chicago. I mean, when you look at One Bennett and some of the other really high price per square foot properties, for it to dip this low shows the impact that COVID and the civil unrest had on the North Chicago condo markets. Exactly. I mean, it was tough.
We're making a comeback though. See,
we are. Look at it. It's trending up. Good work.
Coming back up. So that's that.
Yay.
Yeah.
All righty. So we're going to start talking about co-ops.
Right.
Again. And so let's do a quick refresher on what is a co-op. I'm getting hold on. What is a co-op? So can folks see? I'm trying to share. There we go. So quick refresher, what is a co-op? A co-op is they're attached buildings, so multi-unit buildings, like, condo building is an attached building. A co-op building is also an attached building, but a co-op is a corporation rather than an association. And it issues shares, which show ownership of the co-op, and it gives you a lease to your unit. You get shares in the corporation like you would get stock shares, and you get a lease to your unit. So it's just different. When I buy a condo, or for my condo, I have a deed to my condo.
And you own from the drywall in.
And I own from the drywall in. And you don't own anything except for these pieces of paper that show, and you've got a lease, that show your ownership interest. Now, why do co-ops even exist? It really goes back to how the building was constructed, how the developer got financing. If the developer created a corporation and sold shares to get financing, then it's a co-op. If the developer went to a bank and got financing, and the financing was just between the developer and the bank, then those are most often condominiums.
And we really didn't have condominiums. I mean, condominium law is really pretty new.
70s?
Yeah. Is when they first came into being. Before that, you either rented or had a co-op. There wasn't anything else until they invented condominium law.
Well, if you lived in attached housing, absolutely right. And almost everybody rented. I mean, it was amazing. All these buildings that are, including mine, where I live now, were rentals.
Right.
And then they went, as the expression, they went condo. So where will you find co-ops? You will find them all across the city, mainly in areas with lots of attached properties. And they tend to be some of the older buildings. Though there's this great co-op in Lincoln Park at 432, I think it is, West Grant. You know, that beautiful building? Carol Dillon has a listing there. So does Tim Salm. They're beautiful, big, modern. And I've actually shown it to you folks on previous shows. But mostly they're the older buildings, and you'll see some of them today.
Right. Hyde Park, we're not talking about it today, but Hyde Park has a lot of co-ops. In fact, Here's a little nugget for you. As I was researching for this show, there's a building in Hyde Park where you could get a 1-bedroom estate sale last year or this year. It must be this year, last 6 months. $14,000. 850 square foot. Now, it's estate sale condition, but we all know it doesn't take all that much to get a condo into better condition.
Well, one of the tricky things about those older buildings in Hyde Park, which are beautiful, I've been in a bunch of them, is they have staff and they are older and really require a lot of care. Now, you won't have high tax, those corporations won't have high property taxes because they're not selling for a whole lot, but the upkeep is very expensive. So you can expect to have surprisingly high monthly assessments, which if you're sort of doing your financial planning, you don't get any credit for that. You don't get any, you almost would rather have a loan where you're paying interest because you get to deduct that and have low monthly assessments rather than not. But yes, you can get a real bargain in some Hyde Park ones. So, and what are some of the pros of co-ops versus condos?
Well,
great price per square foot now.
Yeah, for sure. Great price per square foot. The other thing I was going to say is they're more difficult to get into because of the financing. You have to put more money down. Some are total cash. So you're pretty sure that your neighbors are all going to be financially well qualified, because you have to be well qualified to get into these buildings. So you don't have a lot of transients, meaning you don't have people who will buy a unit for investment and rent it out because you can't rent them out. There are people who are going to buy there and be there for a longer time. So if you want more of a staid, people are there for a while, very quiet type of building, a co-op would be for you. I have many clients who, as they're downsizing and, they're coming to the place where this is the last place they're going to live in Chicago, a co-op makes great sense because it's less per square foot. They get to be in a big, beautiful building with lots of good service, and, it just makes financial sense. They're going to probably buy it for cash or heavy down payment. So they're great opportunities for downsizers.
Well, they are, all those are great reasons. One, the amount, it used to be you had to pay all cash, and that's changed completely. Absolutely. Now, I've even found somewhere, there was one up in, these are more lower priced co-ops, but where you can get any kind of financing you can get. They weren't going to put any limit on the financing. Wow. But these are some of the smaller ones. But to your point, which made very good sense, which is also borne out by the research I did, a lot of these are estate sales. And so I didn't want to show you guys pictures of really grim, because people have lived there for 40 years and done nothing to them. Right. Properties, but they exist. So, and they exist at really good prices. Even a building like 209 East Lakeshore Drive, which has 6,000 square feet for some of these units, they're selling at $1 million, $1.2 million, and it's just those would be unheard of. And you can put 20-30% down and still get into these buildings. So they're getting more and more condo-like in certain ways. The risk, the cons are, it's just as we said, they seem more expensive because of the higher HOAs due to taxes and upkeep. There's also, which Anne alluded to, the risk of delinquency. So a corporation has to pay the tax bill. If somebody in my building, I'm in a condo building, if somebody in my building doesn't pay their real estate taxes, that's their problem, not my problem and not the association's problem. It is, however, the corporation's problem if one of their neighbors does not pay their HOA. So that, and everyone else has to contribute. So that's tricky.
Right. There's one bill, one property ID number, and everybody has to put their money in via assessments to get that bill paid. So to Kyle's point, if somebody doesn't do their fair share, then
The rest of you.
everybody else is on the hook for it. Exactly right. So I've got an infographic before we show you pictures of wonderful co-ops. And we just want to summarize really quickly. Condos versus co-ops. In terms of purchase price, now this was done a while ago, 404 per square foot versus 383 per square foot. In terms of housing stock, 98% of the properties are condos in Chicago, only 2% are co-ops. In terms of ownership, for a condo, you own from the drywall in, and then you own a share of the common elements. And then you have limited common elements like windows, where you may have to pay to replace them, but the building also has a part of a versus shares of a corporation or beneficial interest in a co-op. Some buildings have a right of first refusal with condos, but if they don't let you buy, then they have to buy it themselves. Co-ops have a more difficult application process, and they can just flat out turn you down. They often ask you to have 2 to 3 times the value of the purchase price in assets, should a special assessment be required or whatever. Conventional financing for condos, you can put as little as 3% down. With co-ops, 25, 30, 50%, or all cash. And then they also have a transfer fee where they say you need to pay an additional 1 to 2% that'll just go into the reserves of the building. In condos, you can rent them out subject to condo rules. However, with co-ops, typically you cannot rent your property out. So in a nutshell, that's the difference between our condos and co-ops.
Well, another thing to your point, the rental thing, a lot of condos in Chicago, which is driving investors a little crazy, is they have implemented these no Airbnb type rules by saying that leases, if you subject to the rental cap, if you're going to lease, it has to be for at least 6 months.
Right.
That makes Airbnb not work. And there are a lot of, especially young people, who don't get that. They're like, oh, what do you mean? I can't rent the place out? And the answer is no. You cannot.
Exactly. I have one more thing I want to share with you here before we go into our properties, and that is I did some research on the last 6 months. And now this is just lakefront. I only included Near North, Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Uptown, and Edgewater. Okay, so the neighborhoods just like North.
Yeah.
So in condos in those areas, there are currently 2,939 properties for sale. And the first number is the median sales price, followed by the average sales price, meaning,
I hear you.
High numbers bring it up. And then the days on market. So in the last 6 months, 5,400 condos basically have sold. 375 to 466 in price, and 90 days was the average market time. Co-ops, there are only 123 currently on the market, and the price is higher in the lakefront co-ops. But look at that market time, 358 days. Now that's active because they've been on the market. Pending and sold or less. 29 pending, 29 days. Oh, wait, 56 sold, 56 days. That looks a little odd to me, doesn't it?
Well, remember, the days on market can be funky with.
Well, that's true too, as we'll see in some of the properties that I'm going to show you. So
I'm going to give you just for people watching, very often realtors will cancel and relist, trying to restart the clock and get the price at the right price. And then, of course, it sells.
Right. Right. Okay. So you ready to show some pretty properties?
I am. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All righty. Am I showing first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Share screen. All righty. So these are, so this is, I looked at under contract. She found 29. I found 30. I don't know how I picked up the extra one, but maybe it went off last night because I did mine yesterday evening. So the price, the sizes range from 740 square feet to 5,700 square feet. So cute little one bedrooms to huge apartments like the size of big houses. The monthly fees, look at the range, $459 to over $13,000.
Wow.
And those will include taxes. So what I'm trying to do is show you that there are some really low price co-ops too. And the styles are all over the place. So vintage, mid-century, modern, and contemporary. Okay. So this is one that I didn't realize that would be I figured this kind of property would be a condo, but it's a co-op.
Yeah.
And it's on the market for it's under contract with the last list price of $128,000. It's been on the market for 25 days. It was on the market for 25 days, which suggests to me that it's going to sell pretty close to the 128. Mm-hmm. The HOA is $476. That's nothing. It's a large one bedroom. There's no parking and laundry in the basement. It's close to the lakefront. Now, I didn't show pictures because it looks move-in ready. It's gray wall. I mean, it's empty, gray walls. You can't see. So I showed the floor plan. That's a very usable, happy floor plan. You could use the sitting room as an office. I mean, it's a really nice floor plan for this property. So that's this one. The Mies van der Rohe buildings. There are how many Mies van der Rohe buildings, Anne? Right along
in the city?
No, along this.
Well, you've got two that are co-ops, 860, 880, and then you've got the condos, 900, 910.
Okay, so there are four, and they all look beautiful right there. This happens to be 880. 880 has a lot on the market right now, and I chose this one because it's a little bit it's larger and it's sort of the medium price. So this is a $600,000 list price. It was on the market for 22 days. Now note the much higher HOA, but that includes, and these are things we should talk about, that includes tax, parking, so you could take $150 off if you decided not to take the parking spot, the mortgage loan. So corporations will get mortgage loans on the building. They get a loan and mortgage the building on behalf of all of the corporation to pay for things like elevators or larger capital projects. This has a $10 million mortgage on it that's going to be paid off at about $350, $375 a month for this unit until 2028. Now that is one of the risks of living in a co-op, excuse me, these mortgage loans can add a lot to your HOA.
Yep.
Plus the general assessment. So that's a big monthly nut. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. You can buy an extra I said the one parking spot extra, $40,000. Ann and I would always, okay, can you hear the police? Sorry, people. My windows are open. We would always put the parking spot as part of the acquisition price. So, they say it's an extra $40,000. It's not. And then close to lake, hospital, all those good things. So this is, look at that view. Now, do you happen to know if 880 is the one that is very restrictive, Anne?
I do not know.
On what you can do to the exterior. So those may be original.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Or original
landmark.
Windows. So you can see one of the great things, the reason people buy Mies van der Rohe is you can really move almost everything around. So this is how this is a combined unit, and they've got 2 bedrooms separated by the living room, and look at all of that Lakeview. It's just really, it's
Yeah.
a very pretty unit. And then lastly, a beautiful unit at 2440 Lakeview, also a combined unit, 1.3 million, 50 days on market, because this, wait till you see the view. The HOA, because you're paying 2 units HOAs, is for $4,600. It's 4,000 square feet. There's a parking space. There may be 2 parking spaces. It's not clear, for 25,000 extra. And then this is all you get. But look at that.
That's lovely.
So they've made it a little bit more modern, but you get all this view of park and lake. It's got some of the vintage feels, but also made modern. And that's the oddness of the view. So along this, can you see my cursor going up and down? To the right, that's the east view, and the rest is north and south.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I got. What have you got?
Nice.
Stop share.
Okay, so where did I put mine?
You've hidden it from yourself.
I've hidden it from myself and from everybody. Give me 1 second to pull it up here. Whoop. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so I have 3 I'm going to show you quickly. The first one, 70 East Cedar, 6 West. And it does not have parking. 30% down is required, 131 shares if you buy this unit. And here's how they break out the assessment. You've got a base assessment plus the taxes, plus the reserves, plus a 7-year loan, plus a construction loan, means $4,270 total. Here's the floor plan. It's another one of these grand vintage properties where it's the old pre-war kind of, you walk in here to the foyer. The front of the building has a big living room. You've got 2 bedrooms and a wing over here. And then as you go to the other side of the foyer, dining room, bedroom, and kitchen. So here's the sales history. The person bought this for $662,500 after it had been on the market 718 days. Then they put it on the market like 10 years later, 11 years later. It was on the market 282 days and didn't sell when it was listed between $850 and $750. Then they put it on the market again at $740, didn't sell, reduced it finally to $680, and now they're under contract. So it's $272 per square foot. Here's the foyer of the building, really cool, lobby of the building, beautiful. Okay, so you can see the grand entry foyer that is pretty common in some of these pre-war buildings. Living room, very traditional decor. Here's your dining room, lovely.
I'm loving those floors. Good Lord, those are hard. Those would be expensive.
I wanted to show you, the bathrooms in here are not very big, but they've obviously redone them. So this is 2,500 square feet and really nice building. Okay.
Oh, I love 1209. Yeah.
Okay. So this is an interesting one. This one also does not have parking. Again, assessments in the 4,300 range because of taxes and assessment, 20% down. And then you have to pay 1.5% transfer fee, but it's at least split between the seller and the buyer. This property was purchased by a real estate agent and was renovated. So you can see.
She took a 3-bedroom unit and made it 4. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Check this out. Bought it for $997 in 16. It started to be on the market at $1,375,000. Oops, nice typo in. 1,295 after 76 days is pending. So this one, 2,500 square feet also at $1,295,000, it's $518 per square foot. Remember, the last one was in the 200s, but
Yeah.
as you said, she played with the floor plan because, you know, all of these pre-war buildings have those big dining rooms that people don't need so much anymore. So she combined the kitchen and the dining room here, left the living room, and then has these nice bedrooms. Look at that kitchen. That is not your
Beautiful.
typical vintage kitchen.
Oh, she did a beautiful job.
And then the dining room is here as part of it. I got confused when I looked at this first because I'm seeing this area and then I see this area and they look the same, but here's the deal. It's one big room with two separate areas. So it was really well done. You take this big living room and you break it down into two very usable spaces. Bedroom. And I always love to look at the baths. They really give you an idea of how it's updated. Very contemporary here. More traditional here.
But very user-friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, outdoor space. So that's that one. Okay. My last one is the Aquitania, which is 5,000 North Marine. Yes, and I've sold in that building, and they are great buys. This particular unit is 1,200 square feet, and it was on the market in April of 19, sold for $164,900 in 23 days. Now in 2021, it's on the market for $179,900. It's a big one bedroom, 1,200 square feet. So it's $149 per square foot. And in 19 days, it's gone under contract. Here are the fees for this. It's $1,518 per month. Assessment of $755 roughly, plus property taxes. They've taken out the gas, the water, the cable, so you can see everything that they're spending. The building loan, the capital contribution, which means putting money toward reserves. And then they charge people for electricity billed on usage, and it's about $20 per month, but not included in this assessment. Number of shares, 119. Here is the unit. You come into the foyer, big foyer, which is almost as big as the living room, separate dining room, kitchen, butler's pantry, and one bedroom. So, 1,200 square feet for a one bedroom is a very amply sized one bedroom. So this is that big foyer here. I think that's really pretty cool. And it's open to the living room. So again, this living room has two seating areas, open to the dining room.
Yeah, look at that.
Views of the lake. Isn't that awesome? Here's this long kitchen. It's a galley kitchen, shaker cabinetry, very nice and clean. Bedroom, bath. So there you have it. Those are my three.
Those are good. I love the Aquitania.
Yeah, I do too. Now, it doesn't have parking either. Well, it has a few places in the back, but.
Yeah, that's not parking. And it's also a very tough neighborhood to find street parking.
Yes.
But it has fantastic public transportation.
Yes, absolutely. Right in front. And, great building.
Yeah.
So that's it. Those are the ones I have for you.
Let us know if you've got questions about co-ops, condos. Really, it's a great entry property for a lot of people. And there are some really good buys if you're looking for a project.
Absolutely. Yep. Fabulous properties. So next week, we're going to get deep into inspections. Please watch that show. And if you have questions you'd like us to answer, shoot them over. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. We both have these posted on our YouTube channels. And that's it for this week. Anything else, Kyle?
That's all I got. Good to see you as always.
You too.
Bye.
Have a good week, everybody. Bye.